if you can hear me. I have my mic on, so hopefully you can hear me. Good evening. It's late. I was supposed to get on hours and hours ago. However, it's almost 11 o'clock. Oh my goodness. Okay. So today I want to talk about knowing your numbers. You hear that quite often, at least you do kind of marketing business wise, but I don't know if people really understand what it means to know your numbers, especially in the field that I'm in. So if you're not familiar with me or you're just now landing on my page or my channel, my name is Asia Randall. I'm a project manager. I'm a marketing consultant, and I tend to do a lot with concerts, large events. Currently, I have a contract with a blues concert. At the end of this month, they are going to be doing a blues concert in Arkansas. And so we're about 2 weeks out from the show. And so now it's kind of time to kind of refine things and know your numbers. And this is kind of where a lot of people fall short, because they think they're looking in terms of how much money that they want to make for a large show. So the concert that I'm doing, we can do anywhere from 2,000 people to almost 6,000 people for our concerts. And so knowing your numbers is very important when you're dealing with large numbers like that and large clientele of people. And so because people want to know exactly, they're thinking, how much money am I going to make? And that's all they have in their head. And they're not thinking of all the expenses that come with that. So I wanted to go through today some of the expenses that you may incur when you have a large concert, large event, festival, things like that. So one of the things is going to be the venue and the price of the venue, right? So the venue you may have a venue that's 10,000 seats, but you may only do half house. So if you only do half of the house, then you have to account for that. Like, how many seats is that? As opposed to doing an event and you do the whole 10,000 seats, right? That cuts your seats in half. So you're going to need to know exactly how much to charge per seat. So generally what we do is we start and we do like reverse engineer it, if you will, to know exactly how much you're going to need in terms of costs. Next, you have sightlines. So you may not be familiar with sightlines. So sightlines are, let's say I bring in the stage, right? Because I'm doing a large event and I'm bringing the stage. Well, if I bring in the stage and they put up the speakers and all the things around the stage, then it may obstruct your view. So now those particular seats are not good seats anymore because the view has been obstructed. And so what may happen is, let's say we may have 40 seats that have to be relocated because you don't have a good view. So because I'm moving those seats, now I just lost 40 seats at however much the purchase of the ticket was. So you have to bring that into consideration when you move those seats. And now you have to relocate those people. And when you relocate those people, they need to be in the same cost type seating that they were in before. So if it's obstructed view in a VIP seat, then they need to be moved to a different area, but it still needs to be the same value. So then you have to be mindful of that. Okay. Next, we have free tickets. So knowing your numbers also includes free tickets. Let's say you have radio, right? You may be doing different radio stations. You may do TV. You may be doing ads. You may be just giving away tickets on social media. So those also are going to play a part in your numbers because each ticket has a value. Whether you're giving away general admission, whether you're giving away like reserve seating, VIP seating, each ticket has a value. So you have to be mindful of that. And when you're doing your numbers, even though you're giving them away for free, they still have a cost associated to it because it's going to take away from your bottom line. So if you're trying to make, let's say, $300,000 per show, you have to subtract the amount of free tickets that you gave away because that's going to that's going to add or take away from the actual number that you're going to get on the back end after all the expenses have been paid. Next, stagehands. Now, stagehands are the people that you would hire to help you with your event when you are just getting in, like the people who are going to help build the stage. They're going to help put the things on, like if you have a play, they may be helping to assemble. They're just extra stagehands, right? So they're just extra hands if you need help with mounting something or moving something. You may have large, heavy pieces where you require 10 plus, 20 plus people to move these things at one time. So you need stagehands. However, stagehands are per person per hour. So if you may need 10 stagehands, you may need 12 stagehands, but they're also per hour. And so because you cannot particularly justify or know exactly what that cost is going to be up front, you can only kind of gauge and approximate exactly how many you may need based on the amount of times that you've done your event, your service, your festival. So knowing how many stagehands you're going to need is going to be important to you for your bottom line numbers. Next, tables. Tables, tablecloths, chairs. We have an event at a coliseum. So the floor, of course, there's nothing on the floor. But when we have an event, we put tables and chairs on the floor. Now, let's say the venue may have tables and chairs, but they may not have the tables and chairs that you need, right? Let's say they have seating for, we call them like four tops, right? So like 4 people can sit at one table. However, maybe this particular show, you have a lot more couples, and you might want to do 6 to a table or 8 to a table. So now you may have to go out and purchase table rentals. So you're not physically buying new tables, but you're just looking around or finding rentals and purchasing the rental of the tables, renting the chairs, renting the tablecloths. All those things also play a part in your bottom line. So as time goes on, these things just eat away at your revenue, right? At your profit. So these are the things that you need to know. That's why we're always talking about knowing your numbers and seeing how important that is so that you actually know what you're going to walk away with at the end, because expenses add up, especially for large shows. They add up very fast. Before you know it, you'll be like, where did all the money go? So you do need to know these up front before you even embark on such large shows like this. Next, I will talk about ushers and ticket takers, right? So your ushers and your ticket takers, the ushers are going to be the people who are going to tell the people where they're sitting, right? Hey, you are in section A, you are in section B, go that way, you're in section C. And so the venue is going to handle that. However, there's a thing that when you have the venue and they are handling your ticket takers and your ushers, you also need to be mindful of how many there are, right? Because this also hits your bottom line. So let's say they have you down for, let's say there was 10 ticket takers and there were 12 ushers. Well, you walk around and you see, oh, there's only 8 ushers and 8 ticket takers. So when you go at the end, we call it settlement. So usually in between intermission, that's when the box office closes, and that's when you get to settle the show and kind of see where all the expenses are. And so as you are looking and taking notes, making sure that you're not necessarily getting charged for extra ushers and ticket takers, because they may have scheduled 12, but maybe only 8 showed up. And so you don't want to get charged for that, because you may not find out on the back end that they only had 8 and you got charged for 12. So you do need to be mindful of that. So make sure you're looking and checking around and seeing how many actual stagehands, how many ticket takers, how many ushers you have, so that you don't get the extra fees, because all of these people are paid per hour. Most of them are paid per hour. So if you're looking for trying to figure out where all your cost is going, that's going to be a large part of your cost because you're dealing with a lot of hourly people. Next is event security and officers. So event security is not going to be the same as your officers. Event security is going to be the people that are like in the aisles, but they're trying to make sure that the aisles stay clear. So that way, if there's an emergency or anything, that nobody's just kind of lingering in the aisle, right? People tend to like want to hang out in the entryway and kind of watch the show. Keep it moving, right? So those are going to be your event staff type people, and those are also hourly people. Then you have your security. Then you have your officers. Your officers are going to be hourly as well. Usually have officers, and then we have the undercover officers, right? So you want officers that people can see. That way, if they do have a problem, that they can physically go to the officer and say, hey, this is this, I saw this, or whatever the case may be. But you also need undercover officers just to be able to survey, because we're talking about thousands of people here, right? So you also want to be mindful of that and seeing, where you have everything. And those two are hourly people, right? Everybody's hourly. So these also eat away at your bottom line. So you need to be mindful of these. And then the last one I have, and this is just a list that I just kind of came up with off the top, but this is probably maybe not even half of the expenses that we will really incur on a regular show. These are just the unforeseen that you may not even know about. If you are creating or starting an event, or you want to host a large event or concert outside, these are the things that you need to know, so that way moving forward you're aware of it, so that way you're not caught off guard, and making sure that you charge enough for your tickets, so that way you're not upside down, because most of the times people only think about maybe how much the talent costs and maybe the venue and a couple other things, and you leave out all the important things that are going to eat at your bottom line. And so the last one I have is event insurance. So your event insurance is going to be if you have a rain or shine event, if you have an outside event, anything that you have that's going to deal with a large amount of people, and especially if they're drinking, they're going to require you to have event insurance. Now, event insurance can vary depending upon the type of event that you're having. We tend to have an event insurance it covers us for up to $1 million. Now, it sounds like it's expensive, but it's really not as pricey as you think. So it really depends on how many people you're going to have, and then they'll give you about the amount of insurance that you're going to need based on that. So that's event insurance. And that is all. So I hope you understood what I was talking about. I hope you know your numbers, because they are so important, especially when you are doing large events. And I don't want you to get burnt out, and I don't want you to get frustrated, and I don't want you to lose out on something that could be really beneficial. And it could, it's good for the people. People love having events. People love being outside. People love to entertain with other people. And so events are fun, but when you are doing large events like this, just be mindful of how much your costs are, how much is associated with it before you go and embark on something like this, because you may find yourself upside down and in a lot of debt if you're not careful. Hope you found this helpful. Chat soon. Bye.